Dear friends, today we have a special episode of Super Tony's Adventures. Enjoy! Tony and I are in a rush. He was just walking around the park when he suddenly felt he needed to do a number 2. We're afraid we won't make it. Okay, stop. Tony, I wonder what will happen if you try to hold it inside you, and how long could you do it? Sounds like a great idea for an experiment. Let's go. After a few hours, it's getting very hard to hold it, and Tony manages to keep his pants clean only thanks to his great willpower. The first thing he feels is abdominal pressure. Tony is now suffering from bloating and gases in his stomach, which are difficult to get rid of. After 6 hours, it is a bit easier to tolerate, but only because water from feces is absorbed into the intestines. It gets more solid, causing constipation. You can still feel the urge to go to the toilet, of course, but it's not that strong anymore. After 12 hours, the stool becomes very hard. The belly is swollen because of the high pressure in the abdomen. If you go to the toilet now, it can be accompanied by pain, bleeding, and minor ruptures of the anus. After holding it for more than 12 hours, the feces are hard as a rock. A fecal impaction may form. It is a large, hard mass of feces stuck in the intestines that it can no longer be pushed out. Most often, in this situation, you have to resort to an enema or even surgery. And if you do nothing, it can lead to serious illness and even death. Anyway, dear friends, you should never try this at home because the consequences can be too severe. When you hold it, you keep the waste products in your body, and if they get into a wound or crack in the intestine, it can lead to a bacterial infection. In addition, the rectum can expand or even change its shape, which will cause problems in the future, leading to intermittent constipation, which will only aggravate the condition of your intestine and your health in general. So Tony, let's finish this experiment and run to the toilet. Tony, do you need to go to the toilet? Hang on, we have an experiment to make. I have a great idea. Let's see how much can a person hold their pee before their bladder explodes. And you'll help us with that, Tony. Let's go. First, we have to say that the bladder has a volume of 200 to 400 milliliters, less than a half-liter bottle. But the need to go to the toilet doesn't appear right after you drink water. First, the liquid passes through the stomach and the intestinal tract. It is absorbed by the blood and passes through to the kidneys. It is there where it becomes pee and ends up in the bladder. You'll first feel the urge to go to the toilet when your bladder fills up to 60% of its capacity. So, a person who drinks 2 liters of water a day will visit the toilet from 4 to 6 times. If you end up going more than 10 times, you probably have some bladder problems and should see a doctor. How are you holding up, Tony? You know, an adult can hold their pee for up to 6 hours. After that, the bladder will explode and there will be pieces of you all around. Just kidding. Our body is truly advanced, so if your bladder cannot hold any more pee, the brain will send a signal and force you to relax and experience a very embarrassing situation. If this happens too often, you'll have problems holding your pee constantly. This is known as urinary incontinence. But in the worst cases, your bladder can definitely explode. For example, if you hold your pee for long and a friend accidentally pats you on the stomach too hard, the unexpected stress can make your bladder burst. Your bladder will end up with a hole and your urine will enter the abdominal cavity. This can be very dangerous and you'll end up in the operating table right away. Without proper help, a situation like that can end up with the person's death. Overall, friends, an exploding bladder is not the only cause for concern. The thing is that pee holds toxic elements and your body wants to get rid of them. So, when you hold your pee, these elements can pass through the walls of the bladder and enter your blood flow again. So, if you go to the toilet as soon as you feel the need, you'll be making your body a favor. So Tony, no more suffering. Run to the toilet. On your marks, ready, go! Oh boy, aren't you ashamed of yourself? You wet your pants right in front of our viewers. Get ready to be shocked. Today, I'm gonna tell you everything about all the microscopic monsters that are living in your body without you even knowing. Pay attention, and if you have a weak stomach, be careful. Let's start with the eyelashes. We all know how they look, But let's see if they change under the microscope. It turns out that a genus of tiny creatures known as Demodex lives in our eyelashes, and all people have them. Their diet includes the dead skin cells and fat located in the follicles of your eyelashes. They reproduce there, putting up to 25 eggs in one go. Tony, that won't help. You won't be able to get rid of them, so just get used to it. Moreover, they can be found not only in your eyelashes, but also in your face, your head, and other hairy places in your body. Now let's go to the bedroom and take a look at your sheets under the microscope. Meet the house dust mites. These insects live in the dust, which, as you know, consists of human dead skin. So it's no surprise that they are in your bed. And every night you sleep next to these creatures. There are at least 1 billion dust mites in one bed. Unfortunately, we don't know if they crawl on your face while you sleep, but they probably could, right? Now let's take a look inside Tony's mouth. You can see the dental plaque with the naked eye, which isn't very nice on its own. And if you watch TV, you've probably seen toothpaste commercials telling you that there are many bacteria in your plaque. But is that true? Let's take a look under the microscope, because science doesn't lie. Turns out it's true. Dental plaque is not only full of bacteria, but it's made 100% of bacteria and their discharges. That's why you have to brush your teeth at least in the morning and in the evening. Do you know why your armpits smell bad after exercising? It's not because you sweat, or at least not only because of that. After you sweat, the warm, humid, and nutritious environment of your armpits becomes the perfect place for bacteria to live. And their discharges are the cause of that bad smell that follows you everywhere. But don't think too much about the information you've just learned. In the end, we've been living a normal life before seeing this video. And all people on the planet live along with these creatures. Just be glad that you now know a little bit more about the world and keep enjoying your life. Tony, today we're gonna conduct a very exciting experiment. We will find out what happens if you don't wash your hair for a whole year. Let's go, my trusty Tony. We're gonna do some great things together. Nothing terrible has happened after a few days. In order to remain hydrated, the scalp produces sebum and oil, resulting in greasy hair. About a week later, an unpleasant smell has appeared, which follows Tony wherever he goes. This happens because the scalp is now actively absorbing moisture, creating a perfect environment for bacteria. And the smell appears because of them. By the way, all body odors appear because of these little bastards, which is why our parents ask us to shower all the time. Sorry, we got distracted. Let's proceed with the experiment. The next symptom is itching and skin irritation, but this is nothing compared to what's gonna happen next. After 2 months of not washing your hair, you may experience pain. Oily and dirty hair weighs much more than clean hair, thus it puts a heavier load on the hair follicles. In addition, the nerve endings on the head are now also in constant stress, which may provoke migraine. That means you will have a headache all the time. The next problem is ingrown hair. This condition occurs 7 months into the experiment. Hair bulbs can get to the surface because of dirt, and the hair has to look for other ways to grow, under the skin for example. And after 9 months, the hair may stop growing altogether. We are already close to the end of the experiment. Tony hasn't washed his hair for 10 months. Bacteria is already beginning to penetrate deep into the scalp and cause dandruff. Well, that's it. A year without shampoo or at least water. Oh, you look nice, Tony. Because of the huge layer of dirt on your head, your hair follicles have stopped getting enough nutrients and simply died. That's why your hair just fell out. I don't even know if it will grow back. Good thing this experiment was hypothetical. We would not do such a thing with Tony, right? By the way, friends, did you know there's a bunch of people who don't use shampoo? They do wash their hair, but they use only natural products, like soda or plain water. I have an amazing idea. Let's find out what happens to the human body underwater. Not in the tub, but somewhere deeper and darker. So, we're in a special pool used by scuba divers and freedivers to practice. In case you don't know, freediving is a special form of diving that relies on breath holding until resurfacing, rather than the use of breathing apparatus such as scuba gear. Well, let's take the plunge. When you just dive underwater, your diving reflex activates. First, your heart rate slows down, reducing your body's oxygen intake. A reflex preventing water from getting into your lungs activates as well, and then the blood shift comes into play. This means that your blood is redistributed towards the vital organs, protecting them from pressure. Underwater, the pressure is much higher because water is much heavier than air. So even at a depth of 1 meter, Tony can feel the water squashing him. At a depth of 10 meters, the pressure is twice as high. At a depth of 30 meters, is 3 times higher. At a depth of 100 meters, it's so high that your lungs shrink up to the size of a baseball. But we aren't ready to get there yet. Even at a smaller depth, the pressure can lead to severe injuries. Your eardrums can burst, your lungs stretch out and shrink, causing alveoli to burst and making you cough up blood. What are alveoli? These are tiny bubbles through which gas exchange takes place. Oxygen enters the blood and carbon dioxide goes out. An average adult human has about 600 million alveoli in their lungs. Besides, resurfacing too fast is really dangerous. The sharp drop in external pressure causes gases to create air bubbles that lead to malperfusion. This can lead to decompression sickness, which can cause paralysis or even death. As you can see, freediving is a pretty dangerous hobby. Oxygen deficiency triggers the outflow of blood from the limbs to the vital organs. Motor skills deteriorate and you can faint, which can be fatal underwater. So friends, never dive deep alone and without special training. The world record for freediving belongs to 49-year-old Austrian Herbert Nitsch, who in 2012 reached a depth of 253 meters. Hello everyone! Bless you, Tony! By the way, do you know why people sneeze? It's not as simple as you might think. Our body is a perfect machine. This means that yawning, sneezing, goosebumps, cramps, and other processes have a purpose. But what is that purpose, you ask? You're about to find out. Let's start with sneezing. It happens when various irritants, such as dust and pollen, enter our nose. When that happens, our body automatically tries to clean the nose. Our lungs fill with air, after which the diaphragm and the intercostal muscles sharply contract, forcing the air out of lungs at a speed of up to 120 meters per second. The air is released through the nose, taking everything in its path with it. That's why you shouldn't resist if you feel the urge to sneeze. But try to block the sneeze with your elbow, because along with dust, you can sneeze out harmful bacteria and viruses at a distance of 3 meters. Here's another curious thing: goosebumps. This is another body reflex. In animals, it appears as a reaction to cold or emotional disturbance. As a reaction, special muscles in the dermis raise the hair on the body. First of all, this helps retain heat. Secondly, it makes furry animals look bigger, which can scare enemies away and force them to step back. Humans get goosebumps as a reaction to cold or excitement too, but since we don't have as much hair as animals, it doesn't have any practical purpose. Oh! Have you noticed that if you stay in the bathtub for too long, then your fingers become kind of wrinkly? This used to help ancient people to survive. Turns out, this has a purpose. It allows us to better hold objects in the water. The wrinkled skin on our fingers works in the same way as rain treads in car tires, improving our grip. There is even a proof. An experiment conducted in 2013 showed that people with wrinkled fingers lifted wet objects 12% faster. Friends, tell us in the comments what other curious phenomena you'd like to learn about, and share your stories related to today's topic. The best comments will be featured in the next episode. See you in the next episode of Super Tony. Bye!